All right, welcome back. Full House. Terrell Suggs is back. T. Sizzle, Nick Wright, of course, from First Things First, and Cody Decker. Was there any discussion of changing the name of the show or no?
No. Can I tell you why?
I mean, it's not just a long story.
Oh, I'm sorry. Was when Biggie was rapping that song? Was it in the morning or? And also, by the way, we tend to debate a bit on our show. And you know how you sometimes start debates? Well, first things first. Let me tell you this. So it doesn't. It was nice when it was in the mornings, but it still works.
It made more sense in the morning, but it still
fits.
Works.
Yeah,
got it.
Exactly.
And what time of day is that show on?
It's on at 3 p.m. Eastern.
All right, there you go.
Yeah, it's still on in the mornings for our Hawaiian and Aleutian time zone audience.
Tongan people love the show.
Yeah.
No doubt about it. T's back here as well. We're going to do Giants and Cowboys in a second. There's one game I definitely want to get to with Nick sitting here, and that was yesterday, Niners and Broncos. And as Terrell and I were talking about, it was nice to see Jimmy Garoppolo put on his best Russell Wilson performance. I thought that was like it was Halloween, and he was dressed up like Russell Wilson. At what point is Russell Wilson going to be the $150 million man that the Denver Broncos thought he was going to be? Because thus far, they're throwing money out the window.
I have no clue. I mean, like I said, the faster they get on the same page with them receivers and all that, get that chemistry, then we'll start to see something. But we might get a lot of these 11-10 games.
By the way, I'm sorry to say this, but the way they have you sitting, I'm so much taller than you. It's like, hey, Gary Coleman's doing the show with us today. This is fantastic.
I'm the little guy for him. I'm the little guy, but it's cool.
That was a tough game to watch cross-court.
No, listen, Russell Wilson should be so thankful for Nathaniel Hackett's existence.
Oh,
because
here we go.
No, listen.
Because you're going to blame Hackett for everything?
No, because the whole media's blamed Hackett for everything, and Russ has been terrible.
Okay, so we're on the same page.
Okay, Russ through 2 weeks was awful, and yesterday was even worse.
Yep.
And they just got lucky. With that said, as bad as he was the best quarterback on the field because your guy Jimmy G did the full Jimmy G. The full tour de force Jimmy G. The game-losing pick that after his defense saves him, gets him another possession, takes a sack he can't take, and managed to self-safety and throw a pick six on the same play.
Yeah.
And I had to, listen, I watch Craig, I still wake up early, and I had to listen to you and so many others be like, oh, well, we're sad for Trey Lance, but the Niners are better. Why? Because Trey Lance would have not self-safetied yesterday?
We don't know what.
Well, you know what? He wouldn't have been worse. He wouldn't have been worse.
Think about this. Point. Think about how, being on a different level, different playing field mentally than everybody else, where you're going to take the self-sack on a play that you throw a pick on. That's a pick six.
Yeah.
He saved his team 5 points right there.
Better to be lucky than good.
I will say this. It was, all jokes aside, because I can own it, neither one of them are any good.
No.
And there's no reason to think it's going to get much better, at least in San Francisco tomorrow. You could make the argument things will get better in Denver as they get more comfortable playing together and they allow Russell Wilson to do more things, perhaps. But San Francisco's in a weird spot.
But here's why it's so brutal, I would say even more so for Denver. Because both these teams, the way to win is great defense. Obviously, San Francisco needs Trent Williams back. That was devastating. That changed the game. Great defense, awesome running games. I don't know why Denver's not giving the ball to Javonte Williams 25 times a game. Probably because it's in Russ's contract, one of the fine points. And offense must run through me. But San Francisco knew that was Jimmy's limitation, which is why they drafted Trey, even if people don't think he's the right guy, and they are not tied to him. Russ turns 34 in a month. And is locked in there for the next 4 seasons.
At a big number.
Without the ability to pick up those first downs with his legs and to threaten you with his legs, I just don't think he's a special player.
The only thing good for them right now is that, the division's not as good as we thought it was going to be going into it. I think everyone could take ownership of that. And they're 2-1. So you're in first place after 3 games, and you've kind of overcome some questionable coaching decisions, some shoddy play, like 7 or 8 drops yesterday. And after 3 weeks, you could take that deep breath. We're not 0-3. To the contrary, we're sitting in first place. Your Raiders, of course, are 0-3.
They are. Thank you for
They're
reminding
the
me.
best 0-3 team money can buy. Them.
Are they?
Maybe the
Are
best
they?
0-3 team in the history of football.
Yeah.
Well, here's my
Most
question.
expensive.
What's more embarrassing, Russell's play on the field or his TikTok game as of late?
He's just a weird dude.
so
He's just one of those guys. I don't think he's going out bowling with you guys.
It's
A lot of
definitely
teams
his
there,
play
right?
on the field is worse.
Run or pass!
Yeah.
Run or pass! Run or pass!
Yeah.
The runner pass thing, though, was bad.
It was bad because it's like a Pop Warner thing.
The runner pass thing and
Especially because he went and sat down and he's yelling, call out runner pass while he's sitting by himself.
Oh, man.
here's the other thing, and this I want to. You can give me the perspective on this probably best. If you worked somewhere or played somewhere, and after you left, it was pretty clear, man, everybody didn't like me.
Oh.
They're glad I'm gone. They're reveling in my failure. I would think I might take a step back and be like, maybe I should adjust some things.
Maybe it's me.
Maybe I should change a few personality quirks I have because it seems like my coworkers don't love me. Instead, Russ is, he's just all in on the catchphrases and, for lack of a better term, the corniness and all of that. And I don't
horrible.
think that plays when you're not playing well.
The first thing I would do if I was him was make sure Ciara still loves me.
Yeah.
And as long as I got her,
Yeah.
I'm good. You guys can hit me as much as you
I don't think
want.
that helps him with his teammates.
No,
I think
probably
his teammates are like, you
All
got to be
right,
kidding me.
let's get to tonight's game because the New York Giants are trying to go 3-0.
They're trying to go 3-0.
We all agree the Eagles are the team in the NFC East that no one's going to catch, but the Giants have a chance to do something unthinkable. Go 3-0 and make sure that there is no quarterback controversy in Dallas, despite what the owner wants them to be, which I understand. Listen, the Giants, I know everyone hates this term house money, but they're playing with it a little bit because no one thought they were going to be 2-0
Right.
or even 1-1 as they rebuild under Brian Dable. But as you could speak to better than any of us, when you start winning games, especially close games, all of a sudden, it changes perspective.
Yes.
And the belief is now, hey, wait a minute, we're as good as anybody.
Yeah.
We can win, and that's probably happening in that locker room. now.
Momentum is contagious. Saquon, he was coming in with a lot of, controversy coming into camp, and now they're 2-0. Now everything is good. You know
And
what
they're
I mean?
in love with their head coach. They love him to death.
Everything is good. Everything's lovely. Feed the young man the ball. Y'all at home. It's one of those things. You ain't got to do nothing special to win this game. The other team ain't got their starting quarterback. Let's just go and win it.
Yeah.
Just go and win
It's
it.
one of those games, and no disrespect to Cooper Rush, who obviously played well enough to beat
Yeah.
Cincinnati. A year ago, he beats Minnesota. You're a backup for a reason in this league, right? And to
Absolutely.
me, this game unfortunately has San Francisco, Denver, Green Bay, Tampa Bay written all over as far as the final score.
Well, listen, and the Giants, you give them credit for you only play who's in front of you. But the first month of the season, it's Ryan Tannehill. It's my guy Baker Mayfield, who's my guy, but I don't know that he's very good anymore. Then it's Cooper Rush, and next week's Justin Fields.
Right.
So they could go 4-0
They can go
without
4-0.
having to do much. The one thing standing between the Giants and 3-0 to me, because I don't think Cooper Rush is going to duplicate what he did, is Micah. Micah Parsons with Dallas.
Yes.
And just because, you know what frustrates me, and I'm glad you're here, because everyone's like, I'm Micah Parsons, Lawrence Taylor. I feel like that Lawrence Taylor's like the final boss.
Yeah.
It's like, let's first compare him
Yeah.
to T. Suggs,
Von
and then
Miller,
and then Von Miller,
Yeah.
and then the late great Derek Thomas,
Yeah.
and then once he passes all those guys, we can compare him to Lawrence Taylor.
Yeah.
But if I'm the Giants today, Craig, my only game plan is don't let Micah Parsons ruin our life.
Exactly.
Sure.
And so if Micah Parsons doesn't wreck the game, I think the Giants win.
Yeah.
And I think it's their job. The Bengals couldn't do it. The Bengals went into the game knowing don't let Micah Parsons kill us.
Couldn't do it.
And they couldn't do it.
And by the way, Danny Jones has been pressured more than any other quarterback in football through 2 games.
Yikes.
So that plays into the Cowboys' hands. But sadly, let's be honest, we're looking at 13-10, 16-7, that type of game.
Long as Saquon running that ball 30 to 35 times.
35
G-Man.
times.
No,
Yeah,
he's
you
not
gotta give
getting
him the ball.
35
You
times.
gotta give him
He's
the
not
ball.
gonna get 35 times
You
in the next
can't
2
pass
weeks.
rush if we
Thank
running the
God.
ball. Nobody's ever in the history of the game got a sack on a run play. Yo.
Hey there, thank you so much for watching The Carton Show. You can subscribe right here to get all the latest bits and segments from the show. And by the way, while you're at it, we have a lot of great shows on FS1, so check them out too.